In the art world, we are given thousands upon thousands of colors at our disposal, and they are at the ready from the start of our masterpieces. But what if you went to your canvas and instead of seeing a rainbow of colors to choose from, you get the black and white abyss to paint from first? And you don't get to see what colors you pick until the very end. Hello lovelies, my name is Maya and welcome to my canvas. My challenge today is to paint in black and white and see what colors I randomly choose. I'm excited for this challenge because, for one, I have never done this before. And if I were to ever, and I mean ever, paint in grayscale, I would have already planned accordingly to paint in grayscale, which I have painted in grayscale before, and it is super fun to do when you know how your painting is going to come out. Painting in grayscale can also be relaxing and stress relieving because you don't have to worry about comparing colors to make your masterpiece look pleasing to the eye. All you have to do is just focus on the character and monochrome colors. There are also some artists out there who start their paintings in grayscale and then they apply color on top. It is a great technique if you want to focus on your shadows and your lights first instead of worrying about colors. Because as an artist, we all know that color theory is not always the best thing to focus on, and it can take years of practice to understand color theory. I, for one, am still understanding color theory to this day. But today, that's not going to be an issue because it's going to be a fun challenge. And I'm throwing color theory completely out the window, and I'm excited to try it. I'm not so worried about grayscale. I'm just more concerned about how my detailing is going to look without me knowing what colors I'm going to use. So that's going to be fun. But without further ado, let's get this challenge started and see the beautiful masterpiece that comes out at the end. Before we can start the challenge, we first need to get a sketch done. I wanted my sketch to be as simple as possible so that all I had to worry about was getting the colors down and not worrying so much about the little details. My reference came from Pinterest. Pinterest is kind of my main go-to to get references for all my sketch work. But while I was scrolling through Pinterest, I found this cute jean bodycon outfit that I wanted to recreate, and that's what I'm doing here. And my idea was to do a jean cross-top bodysuit with a belt, and I liked how it came out so far. Next was sketching the face, and it's always the longest part for me for some reason. Sometimes it doesn't take me long to get the eyes and mouth down, but other times drawing different face angles can be very challenging for me. But I always continue to learn and to expand my skills. I always like to draw fluffy hair, so I wanted to add more puffy Powerpuff Girl hair, and I thought a cute beanie would fit this outfit pretty well. After I finished the initial sketch, I decided to scratch the jean bodysuit and switch it up for a heart tank top and a skirt. At the time, I felt like her clothes were a little too detailed for this challenge, so I made some changes so that it's just easier for me to do color and shading and highlighting, at least for this challenge. after I made the changes, the whole sketch really came together, and I even added some frill to the heart of the top. And now the fun part is getting the colors together. I wanted to grab a little bit of everything because I wasn't completely sure how this color picking was going to go in black and white. So I just wanted to make sure that I had a nice array of colors to randomly choose from, and I thought it would be fun to see which colors I stick with throughout the drawing. Then, after the colors were picked, I separated them into their own layer, went into my settings, changed my view to black and white, and my accessibility settings. And now the challenge begins. I started with picking the darkest color in the palette to be my line art, and this part wasn't so bad. This part of the challenge was pretty normal. Doing this, I didn't have to think about any type of color or what works with anything, and it felt pretty normal because I usually pick dark colors for my line art for most of my works anyway. One thing I will say though, the interesting part was that my entire screen was black and white, so it did feel a little eerie to paint like this where there was no color shown anywhere on my monitors. Next, after I get the initial line art down, I always like to go back and do a little cleanup on my lines, and it just gives a little bit of a style to my drawings. Now that the line art is complete, it is time for the next phase, and that is to start picking the base colors. This is when I was getting a little indecisive about which one to choose first, but I just went for it. I was picking this color and then the next color, and then I realized I made an extra challenge for myself that I didn't even expect. I realized that I gave myself way too many colors to choose from, because at some point I started forgetting which colors I had already chosen. After all, there were multiple darks, multiple grays, multiple creams, and multiple whites to choose from. And I was kind of pinching myself a little bit because I was like, why did I put so many colors in this palette? Because it got to the point where I wasn't sure if I was picking the same color for the same spot, and I hoped that I was picking a different color for different areas. But I ended up getting it done, and to me the base colors looked good in black and white. Now for phase 3, this is normally around the time where I start detailing my art after base coloring, and I was extra nervous with this. I'm not even gonna lie, when I chose a color, I was not sure if it was going to blend well with the base colors. I always try to make sure that my shadows and highlights mesh well, so at this point I just gave it to God and just picked what I felt like would work. Now, I wasn't too nervous about picking shadows for the clothes because I figured that anything that I chose was going to work in those areas anyway, so that was okay. And I knew I was going to change the filter on that layer to multiply to make it seamless with the base color anyway. Shading the heart-shaped tank was probably my favorite part to shade in this piece because I just loved how the dark black meshed with the dark gray, so I thought that came out pretty cool in black and white as well. Now, the lip color was completely random, and I just prayed that whatever I chose went well with the entire fit. So I guess we'll have to see once the colors are revealed. And you guys can tell me in the comments if you thought the lip color fit well with the whole fit or not. I also wanted to see if adding a glow layer would help me make some rosy cheeks, as well as make the lips and nose stand out. So this was just a test to see if it would work. Then, after I was done, I scooched her over to the middle and did some final touches in the shading to make sure everything meshed well together. I also added a basic background to tie everything together. And I finished with my signature. And here she is in black and white, looking good, looking good. Now, all I have to do is just turn off my accessibility filter and here she is. Honestly, I am so shocked at how well the colors went with each other. I threw in some normal skin tones in the palette in hopes that I would grab one of those, but it is kind of funny to me that I grabbed purple for her skin, but it does not look bad at all. One thing I did notice with the final piece is that I made this girl look like Chowder. I made the hair puffs look like his hat. She has purple skin, she has blue clothes, she has that chubby face just like he does. Chubby cute face, by the way, it's a cute chubby face. And it's so funny that I accidentally made a female version of Chowder with this black and white challenge. And I think that's so adorable and so funny because I love my boy Chowder. But that's the end of the challenge. I had a really fun time with this challenge, and it didn't take long for me to complete. This entire piece took about 3 hours to do with a little bit of planning, so it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. Honestly, the sketch took longer to finalize than the coloring and shading and highlighting phase. The base colors were definitely the easiest part to do, and I think doing this could be a great way to get rid of artist block. You can sketch whatever you want, and you don't have to think about colors or compositions or any of that stuff. All you have to do is just ease your way back into drawing and painting again, just getting those creative juices flowing. Everything still came out really well, so I'm very, very happy with the results. And I'm glad I did it. I definitely learned some things that I can add to my art process in the future. But what do you guys think? Would you guys try the black and white challenge for your next piece? How do you think this challenge went? Let me know in the comments. But as always, thank you so much, lovelies, for hanging out with me. I pray that you guys have a blessed day and night, and I will see you in the next video.